All right, so hi Emily, or hi everyone, I'm Emily Pyszora, and I'm the president of Atheists, Humanists, and Agnostics. We refer to ourselves as AHA or AHA sometimes. I first wanted to thank all of you for coming to Freethought Festival. This is the largest event that we put on each year as a group, and so we're all really excited that it's here after a whole year of planning for it. And like I said, I'm the current president of AHA, and I have been for this past school year. And so I'm just here to kind of share some things that AHA is doing and to let you know kind of what we're all about. So to begin with, I'd like to tell you about how we're able to put on a conference like this. AHA is lucky in that we are one of the 17 funded student groups on campus. Some of this has been in the news in the past year, and we and many other groups are directly affected by the decisions made with this money. We get funded through segregated fees, which every student pays at UW-Madison. And this money goes into a general student services fund. And the segregated fees that students pay go towards a lot of things on campus, but a portion of that money goes to groups like ours. What's nice about this money is that it has an equal chance of going to groups like us or Badger Catholic. It's non-discriminatory, so that's really nice. And then there's also a governing board of students which make up the Student Services Finance Committee. And this committee of students decide how much money each of the 17 groups gets on campus and make sure that we're following our budget plan and spending our money like we said we would. And then now I'd like to tell you a little bit more specifically about AHA. At UW-Madison, we are the only student organization that has specifically a space for secular students. Our mission is to promote the discussion of faith, religion, or lack thereof on campus. We seek to educate students on issues important to the secular community and encourage the personal development of one's religious identity and provide a support group for those who may be struggling with issues regarding their faith or lack thereof. Now, that's the more official way to describe our group, but I'll tell you more of what that looks like in real life. So the main and longest running, most occurring program we have is our weekly meetings. These meetings are discussion based and are generally done in a large group, popcorn style, or in a small group. And our officers are the ones who create and lead these meetings. And the meeting topics change every week, and we cover a wide variety of philosophical, science, and social issues. This is where we are able to collaborate and hear different thoughts and ideas from our free thinkers on campus, or even for those who are questioning their faith to come and hear some secular people's thoughts and ideas. And along with these discussions between our in-group of secular people, we also have interfaith discussions and discourse between us and a variety of religious organizations on campus. This is important to us to show that secular and religious people can, in fact, get along and be supportive of one another, as we recognize that there's a need for groups like ours and theirs on campus. One of our favorite events to do with religious groups is our Random Acts of Kindness Day. This is a picture of our officer, Meghana, and then some people from Hillel, which is the student organization, the Jewish student organization on campus. So for this, we stood at the bottom of Bascom Hill and we handed out cards that had compliments on them, like just to random students passing by. Some of the cards said things like, "You're making a difference," or "When you're not afraid to be yourself is when you're the most incredible." So we handed out little cards like that to people, and just to brighten people's days. And this was really fulfilling and a great way to do interfaith work, to show that we all want to make others happy and we all want to be kind to one another. This year in particular, we've been trying to reach out to those, more so with the secular community, we've been trying to reach out to those who identify with the HA of AHA, or the Humanist and Agnostic. Sometimes the label of being the atheist club on campus can steer some away, as they can get the scary idea and image of who we are and expect that we only do like firebrand type things, which is not all that we do. And to become We want to become more of a welcoming place for anyone, but especially these type of people. We've introduced a new program this year called Secular Space. And this is a small group discussion we hold in our office about once a month. And it's a less debate-like, which is like what our weekly meetings are more so. This is more of discussions are free form, though they do center around a core theme. And this is a great space for a more private, personal discussion between our members. Some topics we've discussed at these series include dating while secular, dealing with death, and interacting with religious family and friends. So more of a personal discussion, which is nice. And then, along with the idea of this, including a wider range of freethinkers, we have been trying to be more inclusive of a place for marginalized groups of people within the secular community. It's no secret that the secular community has not always been and is not that welcoming of a place for groups of people like women or people of color. We feel it is our duty as young secular people to be at the forefront of change within our community, and we want to set example for future secular people to come. We're not perfect, but we have been being more active with this hope of becoming more inclusive and a safe space by creating another new program this year. This program is called Secular Intersections, which we have our flyer posted here. And this format is similar of a discussion as I described with the secular spaces. The difference with Secular Intersections is that it aims to create an intentional space for marginalized groups within the secular community to discuss shared experiences and struggles. We have different types of secular intersections for people who are secular and also part of the LGBT community, people who are secular and a person of color, as well as those who are secular and identify as a woman. Now I'd like to share with you some other fun things that AHA does, which is displays. Every year we put up many different displays, get our name out there. The first displays that we do is our God Graveyard displays, and this is on Halloween each year. There, this one, and here's another picture of us with these. And yeah, so up here was with our officers, kind of a cute picture of all of us at 6 a.m. waking up in the dark to put these on Bascom, so as many people and students going up and down Bascom can see them throughout the day. But if you look more closely at this the God Graveyard sign, and we have them like lined up all along Bascom, but the main displays for this read, "Here lie the graves of hundreds of past gods, once worshipped by entire civilizations, now forgotten by most. How much longer will the gods of today last?" Now, I will admit this is probably the most like firebrand type thing that we do as a group, but it gets the student body thinking and further thinking about their faith or lack thereof, and kind of shows like, hey, not everyone, people might have a different idea than you might have, or also to show solidarity with those students who might not know we exist and say like, hey, I have similar ideas like this. And so they know there's a group for them on campus. And then also up here, another display we have, it's a little hard to read, but these are different displays we put in up around Christmas or Easter time. This past holiday season, we put up a display, which is this one, and it's of the flying spaghetti monster in place of where baby Jesus would be in Mary's arms. This display reads, and this was up in the Capitol Rotunda. And this display reads, think this is ridiculous. We agree. Religious ideas should not be promoted in the halls of government. Protect the separation of church and state. It protects us all. And as you can imagine, displays like these both get a lot of traction and attention, whether good or bad. But we think it's important that as secular people, we have our voices heard and on campus and within our government. So then another thing I'd like to tell you about is our charity that we have picked for this year. And we're raising money for this charity. It is United for Puerto Rico. And since the hurricanes of 2017, we thought this was a worthy and much needed cause to raise money for. According to their website, United for Puerto Rico provides assistance to individuals and small businesses devastated by Hurricane Irma and Maria, accelerating their recovery by supporting the reestablishment of their home, food, and to satisfy their needs of shelter, food, and health to rebuild their lives, communities, and Puerto Rico. We really like this charity because while relief is important, we would like to give to a charity that's focused on recovery and rebuilding of Puerto Rico. And if you're interested in donating to this important cause, we do have a donation table set up in the back of there where Megan and Emily are waving, two of our officers. Our goal this year, or for this Freethought Festival, is to raise $750. And all proceeds will go to this charity. And when you donate, you can be put into a raffle, and 5 people have the chance of winning a poster signed by all of our awesome speakers that we have throughout the conference. And when we donate it, it will be put in the name of Atheists, Humanists, and Agnostics. And lastly, I'd like to end by giving, well, one of the pictures didn't show up, but I'd like to end by giving a big thank you to the amazing officers that make up AHA and keep our group running. We are full-time students, and the fact that we still are able to put on the largest student-run secular conference, I think shows what a dedicated and motivated group of individuals we have that make up our officer team. This year we have a mix of graduating officers, whom I'll miss dearly, as well as new officers. And I appreciate the graduating officers for continuing to make AHA the club that we can be proud of. And I'm proud of the new officers for giving it their all while learning from the older officers. I've learned so much from each of them, and I feel so grateful to be surrounded by a group of people and friends that support each other and inspire me every day and leave me in awe of what they're capable of. If we could just give them a round of applause, because they've worked really hard this whole year. All right, and that's kind of all I have for you. Thank you for letting me come up to talk to you or brag about my group. And I'll be taking any questions if there are any. And we have microphones coming around. So if you just want to raise your hand if you have any questions. I can hear you. Oh.
This isn't working. It is now. Okay.
Just wonder, where are all the students?
Class.
Oh, I see. Classes are still happening.
Yeah, so we do have a lot of students coming. I know a lot of them were excited. This is a long conference. A lot of them were excited to see some other different talks. Maybe not necessarily come see me, because they already know what AHA is about. And many of them are members, so a lot of them know what we're doing as a group. Any other questions?
How many registrations do you have?
In terms of students or
For this meeting?
for this conference? I'm not quite for sure, but 150 sounds like it. But yeah, usually we expect around 500 people to come or so as a whole.
What are some of the biggest challenges that your group faces?
So we're lucky. So I'm sure, or some of you might know or have heard of SSA, Secular Student Alliance, and we're affiliated with them as one of their groups. And what's nice is we go to SSA conference during the summer, so we get to meet a lot of different groups. And from hearing like stories from other groups, especially stories from groups who are in the South, they tend to have a lot more discrimination faced and a lot more like active discrimination. So we're pretty lucky that we don't face too much. To be honest, the most we might get is like a little comment on one of our flyers, like like, you're going to hell or something. Or we send out, like for Freethought Fest, we send out like a campus-wide email. And, you know, we've kind of learned to just laugh at some of the silly emails we get back. We got an email back this year that literally just sent back no, period. So that's really just like little minor things. But like I said, I think because as a group we've been doing so well with like interfaith work that people see that we aren't, you know, the really scary, intense atheists that they might chalk up in their head to be. So yeah, we're pretty lucky not to deal with too much of that.
Hey, sorry,
Hi.
I have two questions.
Sure.
But you can cut me off if you want to.
No, you're good, you're good.
So my first question is, you said that you would like to focus more on the first AH part of the acronym.
The Humanists and
procedure.
Agnostic, yep.
Yeah, so as someone who identifies as an atheist, I find it interesting that gets sort of perceived as a firebrand term, and I just wanted your opinion on why do you think that is? And do you think it might be a good approach to instead embrace that term and try to make it less scary instead of shying away from it? Or what's your general take on that?
Yeah, no, definitely. And we had a speaker last year come by, and she was kind of talking about, you know, I wish more people just like identify as atheists, because the more people that come out as atheists in the world, you know, then everyone knows an atheist, whether they know it or not. So it's like, hey, like we're all nice people. But no, I definitely agree with you. I think more so from specifically our group, though, we have been atheist focused. So that's why we wanted more of that comfort space rather than, you know, the back and forth discourse. But no, I wish, and you know, that's easy for me to say that I wish more people could come out as atheists though, because some people are restricted in many ways, whether that's family or their community or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, and then I also wanted to ask, we kind of walked in a little late, but I caught the tail end of you saying that you, one of the goals for the organization this year would be to try to make it a more inclusive secular space, and that historically speaking, it's been a bit of a challenge for women, LGBT groups, people of color in the secular community. And I was wondering if you could speak more about that, why you think that, and what sort of barriers there are and how to overcome that.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of popular atheists who tend to be white males just because that's how it is, and they're the ones that get the traction, but there are definitely things that I think they say or do that prevent women, people of color, etc., from wanting to join the movement and doesn't make it seem so much of a comfort space. And I think another hard thing is that as secular people, it's not like we have a church or, you know, a comfortable space to meet and all talk with each other. We have like the internet, I guess, or university clubs like ours, but you know, for adults it's kind of like we have not that many spaces. So I think like more face-to-face interaction would help that probably. Yeah, no problem. Any other questions?
So you talked about the ways that AHA is trying to serve secular people on campus here, and you talked about some of the interfaith work that AHA engages in to try to make connections with other groups and also represent the A, the H, and the A well in the community here. You're in the Capitol, you put things up in the Capitol building. What other kinds of things might you do that get off of the campus here and might reach into Madison or even further into Wisconsin?
Other like outreach type work?
Yeah, outreach.
Sure, yeah. We're really lucky that, yeah, sure. We're really lucky that we're based in the home base as well as Freedom from Religion Foundation. So we have a lot of friends there and we do a lot of work with them. We have some of them come speak with us or try to like go to each other's events. So that's a nice outreach thing to do. But we are here to serve students specifically, so that's our main focus directly on campus. The furthest outreach, I would say, is working with FFRF or doing the Capitol displays within the Madison community. But yeah, we also have like our sponsors and stuff that are further out. But yeah, we're here mainly for students, so that's who we focus on. All right, I think we're done. Thank you so much, everyone.